Hey, it's Mariah May. You may know me as The Glamour, and you're watching Unpopular Review.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unpopular Review Raw Review Show, coming to you hot right after Raw goes off the air. And it is I, Evil Dose, Jeff, your host, and my co-host this week, second week in a row, Mr. Vinnie. How are you?
What's going on, guys? It is the second week in a row, and ready to talk some WWE action.
Yeah, I was hoping that you were going to be my good luck, that we were going to get another solid show, but I got to tell you that this Raw left me feeling a little bit hollow. I mean, I guess it did the bare minimum of a job, but I don't want to spoil the ending, but I really wasn't feeling much of it.
I got to tell you, I feel like tonight's tag team matches were they were great. Like, they were hot. The first match, DIY, that match, for some reason, I don't think it should have went 40 minutes, but I think both those tag teams, I feel like they both could have been in the WrestleMania 6-man ladder match.
Yep. I mean, that was obviously a big focus of the show, was the tag team matches. We had the 3 qualifying matches to get in the 6-pack ladder challenge. We had the last man standing, and tonight emanates from the PNC Arena on the campus of NC State in Raleigh, North Carolina, a sold-out crowd of 14,370 people, so they say, and one dog, at least, and his name was Pharaoh. So we saw Pharaoh arriving at the arena, as well as a bunch of other people. The show opens up with main event Jey Uso, who comes out, and everyone does the pounce, 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 but Pat starts doing it, and apparently almost injured himself, and I don't know if that's what prompted it, but the crowd's chanting, Pat, 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 Pat. I know you love this.
So no, I love Pat McAfee. I think he has a great show. And I love how Pat McAfee really gets the crowd going. But I love how halfway through the show, it's so funny. Halfway through the show, when it has nothing to do with what was going on, they show a clip of Pat McAfee trying to bounce off his chair and almost falls off of it. It's like too late, too soon. You know what I mean? Like, I would have done that right after we went to DIY. I would have showed that clip. But I feel like the crowd was really hot tonight. Like, it was just it was one of those crowds that were really into Raw tonight.
Yeah, you know what? The Pat McAfee stuff, I love Pat, and I love his interplay with Michael Cole, and I love his energy. However, I feel that he feels spontaneous and real, and not much else and the rest of the show feels like a show. So it almost hurts it. And I'll try to remember specifics as we get along in it. But we do have another comment from Jeffrey Reimer. So there's Matt Hardy signing tonight in Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, I mean, I don't think they live all that far away from there.
Hold on real quick before you go on. Now, when you say a Matt Hardy sighting, was he either in the building, around the building, or somewhere near the show, or was it just a sighting in Raleigh?
Yeah, Reimer, get us the info. Give us the full information.
Give us the 411.
I mean, because last week they made a whole big deal that Top Dollar was was backstage, and that doesn't really mean much of anything, as we have seen. But he says in attendance. Okay, well, wrestlers enjoying a wrestling show is nothing new, but Matt Hardy recently was non-renewed. I don't want to say let go. And he's been saying he's been trying to renegotiate the contract with AEW. And I imagine the contracts negotiations go something like this. Hey, Tony, it's Mr. Khan. Huh? Yeah, it's Mr. Khan. Okay, Mr. Khan, I would really like to still work for AEW. No. Come on, please. No. Really? Delete. And then that's like,
God. So. Well, I got to tell you, I mean, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but even in AEW, like last week when Mercedes Moné made her debut at the Boston Garden, both Becky and I forget who else was it. Was it Nia?
Bailey was there. Tamina was there.
That was it. And it's
I
so
thought
funny
Naomi
because
was there too. I'm not
they
sure.
they try to keep it from everybody. Like they had a hoodie on, but you knew that somebody in the crowd was going to get them. You knew it.
How could anyone tell who they are with a hoodie? Everyone knows that is a foolproof wrestling disguise.
Well, Bailey has the colored hair, so you can definitely tell who Bailey is.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, as long as there's a valid explanation for it. No, I saw they were up in the skybox and all that, and yeah, I mean they for all the hemming and hawing as there is between the promotions, they do not try to spill the beans too much about when others are there. Yes, the picture of Ricky Starks, at a WWE showed up when he was supporting Cody, and isn't
oh really?
Yeah, this was like a year ago. The wrestlers are friends. The wrestlers are friends. The wrestlers are not rooting against each other. They're rooting for each other. Yep, Paige took a picture with them. Who's Paige?
Paige took a picture of who?
I don't know who's Paige. Diamond Dallas Page. What's he talking about? I mean,
is it Paige from back in the day, like Saraya?
Well, whatever. I know Saraya. Yeah, Saraya, and her fantastic brother Zach Knight, not Zach Zodiac. Totally not him. And with Harley Cameron. Yeah, I know Saraya. I don't know.
Wait, is Zach Knight has he made his debut anywhere?
Well, he spoke. I mean, he's mostly been angry and beating people up with, I don't know what you call those things. It's like sort of like a mini club, it's like a leather pouch full of rocks or coins or something. And it's sort of like a abrupted shillelagh. Anyway, Jeffrey, we're not that smart. We don't know what you meant.
I want to comment on this this promo that happened on the beginning of the show with this yeet. Everybody's doing yeet.
Right.
I guess I'm confused on this because we've gone from Jey leaving the bloodline, coming back from the bloodline, leaving the bloodline, then hating his brother, now calling his brother out for a WrestleMania 40 match. Now all of a sudden I feel like he just downgraded and he just like pretty much gave in to his brother and was like, listen, I miss you. I want to. And I guess I kind of scratched my head going, all right, so how do you have a promo with this guy talking about he misses his brother? Like to you, doesn't that seem like a little backwards?
I have to be honest with you. When I saw this on the Royal Rumble and did a Royal Rumble review show, or it might have been the Next Time Rock Hangover, I honestly don't remember which show I was on, but I said it then. I didn't really feel the tension between the two of them when they were 1 and 2 in the Royal Rumble.
I still don't.
Well, let me finish. And I got shit on for that, and I sort of let it go. And I still feel the same. I just think this is a match they wanted to have, and there's really no story to it. So it's like, I love you, you're my brother, but I hate you because you're my brother and you're my little brother. I agree with you. This whole thing feels hollow. Jimmy and Solo come out of the crowd. Of course, Jimmy's wearing a hoodie, so we can't recognize him, but Solo didn't keep the surprise going. He didn't need the hoodie. The best part of the whole thing was, I have to be honest, is that there was someone who had a sign that said "Call Rikishi" in the stands.
Oh, Rikishi!
Yeah, to me, that was the best part. The whole story is who left who left who. Jay's like, you left me. Jimmy's like, no, you left the bloodline, and you're in the biggest spot because of me. All of your big spots are because of me. It's basically like, no, I'm the best. No, you're the best. And then they talk, and there's a double team at the end, but Cody comes in for a rescue, so it's not even much of a double team. Solo makes a distraction, and when Jay walks into a super kick, big deal. I mean, this again, to me, this is whole no yeet. I'm sure they're gonna only if you're sneaking around, only if you want to be in disguise. I'm sure they're going to work their asses off. I'm sure they're going to put on a show. I'm sure it's going to be a super kick party, a lot of splashes, a whole lot of everything. I don't know if they're going to hug it.
Can you tell me what that even means? What does yeet mean?
I think it means like really cool.
So you just can't say.
Well, either that or it means sweet potato. I'm not sure. It's one of those.
Does that mean we're getting old to where we can't understand what these code words are for the new kids on the block?
Yes.
Like we say yeet and they're like, no, Dad, don't say yeet. You can't say yeet.
Well, you have to remember, I'm much older than you, so I've been like this for a while. So yeah, you're getting old. I've been old. So yeah. So this was, for me, this was a no yeet, and it remains no yeet. They're both getting on WrestleMania. They'll both be around, hovering around during both bloodline matches, I'm sure. Maybe even more. I think they tipped their hand to another happening, not in this story necessarily, though ancillary to it. But anyway, after this, we get a recap of the Nia Becky history going back 5 years to the botch that made a career, basically, where Nia accidentally busted Becky's nose, and sort of the rest is history. It was fine. I mean, you're going to give a little context to this match, why there's a last woman standing match when Becky is already in the co-main event for a title picture at WrestleMania in 19 days. They kept reminding us it's 19 days. So I guess they have to explain why this match is happening. But, okay. I'm still not impressed. If you're a professional, I mean, I hold my bullets on this one until after my title match. What do you think? We have another comment from a new. Hello, Mr. Becker. What a fantastic Raw. All right. Well, he really enjoyed the Raw, so that's cool. All right. Well, I'm glad you thought it was fantastic.
No, I'm good. I think I said what I said about the two brothers. I'm not. Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not really looking forward to this WrestleMania. It's really not turning out to be. It's kind of turning out to be like kind of a letdown because I mean, how many people now are on the same card 2 nights now? That's like what, 3 people now already?
I don't know. It depends how much shenanigans there's going to be, and it depends if the Rock and Roman prevail in its bloodline rules. But listen, I think our youngest fan, Jeffrey Reimer, who's I think he's a teenager, he has provided you with a official young person's definition of yeet. So we're going to leave it on the screen for all of the old.
Basically means exclamation of example, approving surprise.
Well, if you're going to read it out loud. Don't just read every other word.
I'm trying to read it before I make like an idiot. I can't understand some of these words. I'm just trying to make sure I can sound them all out.
Oh, okay. So, Jeffrey, now you have to define excitement, approval, surprise, and all-around energy and put them in phonetics. Thank you. All right. So our next segment is Adam Pearce, and he runs into Paul Heyman, who's looking a little disheveled, hasn't shaved, he's got no tie on, got a couple buttons on his shirt undone, though he's in his usual tailored, royal blue suit with the double pinstripe. And he's saying, listen, Mr. Pearce, I apologize. Jimmy and Solo, they went into business for themselves. I did not authorize that. The tribal chief did not authorize it. He goes on to say that the final boss, The Rock, didn't authorize it. Oh, great. So now look at this. Impeach Ray. Jeffrey Ryan says no, he's in his 30s. I'm not sure if we can rely on his definition, to be honest with you at this point. And he says, I'm sorry, but I sent them home. The tribal chief gives you his word. Solo and Jimmy, they're gone for the rest of the night. They're gone. And Adam Pearce doesn't really believe him, but he appreciates this. And this gets us into the next match, which is DIY, the exciting team of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. I prefer them as Regeneration X, against the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius. But before we get into that match, we see the Judgment Day. And the Judgment Day, they're in their little clubhouse. Well, hello, ni hao, everyone. I think is President Xi is in the house. That's terrific, or at least it's President Xi's picture. Yeah, it is not the first time I'm seeing Paul without a tie, but well, you know what? You wait for his Hall of Fame induction. You'll see plenty of shots of him without a tie. But yeah, so Andrade's there, wearing a horrendous outfit, and the Judgment Day are saying, "Hey, we're impressed with you." And Dom, who's been inviting Andrade there, says, "A lot's changed since last time you were around here, buddy." and we're impressed with you, but Judgment Day is really an exclusive club. And Mommy's like, yeah, it's an exclusive club. And JD's like, yeah, it's an exclusive club. And Finn Balor's like, yeah, it's an exclusive club. And I know about exclusive clubs because I was in the Bullet Club and 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 again the Bullet Club and then the Bullet Club again. And then something that was like the Bullet Club and something a little bit like the Bullet Club. So anyway, they point out that Andrade's like, hey, cool. I'm going to show out in my match next week. And he runs into Priest, and Priest is like, yeah, I'll be watching you. And Andrade's like, we say, Mr. Idolo. And Andrade goes, Senor Banco or something.
Is that like Istico and your buddies over at AEW?
I believe that it is, yes. So I think.
What were their names again?
There was El Clementistico, there was El Hepristico, there was the El Gonorrhea. There were so many. There's so many in the great faction of STD. It's just fantastic. He said, "Oh, Senor Dinero." That's what he called him. I know something to do with that. Anyway, JD says something, and they're like, "Wait a minute, JD, you screwed up last week. You embarrassed us. You lost to Ricochet. You were supposed to bring more gold into the Judgment Day." And he's like, "Yeah, but I showed that I could hang with him. Come on, guys, I could do it." And Dom's like, "No, you didn't do it. You really messed up." And so Mommy's like, "Well, don't worry. Dom's going to take care of it tonight, right?" And Dom's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll do it. JD, let's go to Adam Pearce and talk about it." So a lot of Mommy, playing all sorts against the middle. Next match is K&K Dance Factory, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance against Indy and Candice LeRae.
What a waste of time this match was.
Well, we have a very intriguing story. I mean, long-term storytelling is that, Candice has turned to the dark side, and she's going to lie, cheat, steal, and lie and do whatever she needs to win. And Indy is still conflicted over it. I mean, they're winning, but she doesn't like the tactics. She's a nice girl. She is. And in the match, Katana Chance tweaks her knee, has a little bit of an injury, and Candice LeRae doesn't back off at all. As soon as the medical clearance break ends, she attacks the knee and she puts her into a submission, and mercilessly Katana Chance has to tap out and submits, and Candice is making fun of her for her injury, and Indy is not amused. She's not really happy about it. It's true. It's true, Mr. Reimer. Candice is bending all the rules and bended the knee as well, but in the reverse way, forcing Katana to bend the knee to her. Vinny likes nice girls. Who's this? Is this someone that knows you, Vinny? This Katie?
Nice girls. What? Oh
who is this? Is this a love interest of yours?
This is the famous Katie?
I see. Nice to meet you, Miss Katie.
We had this last week with oh God, what's her name? Who's the girl that does all the flips?
Lots of girls do flips.
No. The last week, the match with Candice LeRae.
It was Maxine Dupree last week.
Okay. She did all the flips, and then all of a sudden she scared her and said, "You don't belong here." I guess for me is I hate when they waste time, and they've done that. They did it a lot this tonight. They did how many times can you see Cody? How many times can you see Paul Heyman? How many times can you see Jey Uso? And then on top of that, they do these stupid segments where they bring, all these wrestlers out, and it's a 2-minute, 3-minute match. This is where I feel like WWE is messing up. They're making these stupid vignettes. They're getting these two girls over where they, at least one is talented than the other. And we're getting these short little stories. I don't understand it. I really don't get it.
I don't mind the story aspect of it, but I do agree that we're seeing the same people too many times, especially Judgment Day and anything involving Seth and Cody, and the Bloodline to an extent. What I would have preferred to have seen would be the tag teams that are competing on SmackDown to cut promos against each other. Now, I'm a little bit confused now because I thought last week when the LWO faced Legado del Fantasma that was for a place in the 6-pack tag team match, but their pictures were not on the graphic, so clearly it was not. Clearly that's my mistake, and I didn't have to review SmackDown last week, so I admit I wasn't paying as close attention as I usually am, so maybe it was just my assumption. But this would have been a good time to have 4 promos with 8 people that we're not used to seeing on Raw. Just a little diversity. I know they have to put in all their commercials and their 23 commercials about Philadelphia and WrestleMania and WrestleMania Live and all that, but you're correct. We didn't need to see every single second of it, and some of this stuff is dragging, and that's easy filler, and it's promoting your next television show. So I can't disagree with you on that one. Anyway, DIY versus the Creeds. Listen, this was a good match. It was pretty 50-50. There were a couple of clever spots. DIY won after a hard-fought match. Basically, they they outsmarted the Creeds in the end. I'm not feeling this. I don't like DIY. I don't think the crowd likes DIY. I think these guys are as boring as paint. The Creeds, I don't think they're quite I feel like they're a little bit slow for the main roster, but I do feel like they're a team with a much more upside, a lot more potential. They have charisma when they show it. They haven't been on Raw enough for the crowd really to get behind them. No, most WWE fans do not watch NXT. It's basically the same percentage of AEW fans that watch Rampage. And you need to give these guys a little steam if you're going to push them. But I guess obviously you're not pushing them just yet because they lost this match, so they're not going to be in WrestleMania. They'll probably be in some sort of battle royal. But the match itself was good, and I just feel like the wrong team won.
Well, let's just be honest. I mean, how many times can we see DIY break up, become friends, become enemies, then become buddies again? Like, this is nothing new. We've seen this before lots and lots of times. So for them to bring DIY back to the main roster on Raw from and try to make them as a team, and here's another thing. How many times do we not see DIY every week? It's like
not enough.
And that's what it is. We don't see them enough for them to make
we see them too much. I'm saying, how many times do we not see them? I'm saying not enough. I don't want to see those guys on my TV. I mean, I like Ciampa. I don't like Gargano. I just feel like DIY and now what they call them, the new Catch Republic. I mean, it's like the two indie darling teams. It's Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. So you got them. I mean, both those teams shouldn't be in this thing, but they're Triple H's like indie.
Wait, did Pete Dunne bring his name back to Pete Dunne?
Yep, his name is back to Pete Dunne.
Oh, it's not Butch no more?
He's not Butch no more.
Thank God.
Yeah. And so far, 2 for 2 is face teams. I mean, the champs are heels. So something's got to change going into this, of course. Now, if I had been right and Legado del Fantasma was in it, that would have been another heel team, but they didn't make the graphics, so I'm going to go with them wrong. And by the way, we are at the 23.5-minute mark, so it's probably a good time to put the first commercial on. So guys, make sure you watch that, and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
We saw Cody Rhodes give a very heartfelt promo. How this isn't about him just finishing his story, but it's about everybody else finishing their story. It's about him giving the world title to his mother because Dusty's not around. Did that pull at your heartstrings at all?
Not at all. I mean, it solidified the fact that he's such a bitch. Like he once again, he's doing everything in the world. Rock said it best. He looked at him like he ran over his damn dog. And now he's out here. He's still trying to play the sympathy card. The man, if you look at his documentary on Peacock, they admitted that he knows how to cry on command, right? So he sits there, he's like, it's the same shit you've been saying since you've been back in WWE. The whole time he was AEW, he wasn't saying all this shit every freaking week. But now he has to talk about it all the time. Nobody gives a crap, okay? Nobody cares. You want to give it to your mom, you want to give it to your dad, you want to give it to your daughter, you want to give it to your damn dog. Nobody cares. Stop whining. Stop crying. You're going to lose at WrestleMania. You're going to lose. You're going to get pinned because you're going to get your head stomped in the ground by Seth freaking Rollins. You don't deserve the title. You're too much of a bitch. Nobody wants you to face WWE.
Wow. I believe that's unpopular review shorts. And Jeffrey, no, it's a low card story. It's not even a mid card story. And yes, Jeffrey confirms that Butch is dead. Vinnie, Butch is no more. So next we come in and we see basically a recap of what happened with The Rock on SmackDown. I'm sure all of you have seen that. You saw the SmackDown review show. If you have not, tune in on Saturdays, usually around noon. But the SmackDown review show is still up there on YouTube. You can find it on UPR, Unpopular Review Wrestling's YouTube channel, where you can certainly subscribe and like and hit the notifications bell. And while you're there, hey, you can subscribe to Unpopular Review Entertainment and Unpopular Review Sports. And while you're there, you can check out the first 2 editions of the Lip Men on the UFL. Yes, it's myself and my eldest son, Jake, talking about the UFL. And we're coming in it as newbies, just like most everyone else is. So this is not a podcast to make you feel stupid that you don't know all the players and everything, because we're taking you from the top. And because we're only about 3 or 4 weeks ahead of you in this. Anyway, the next thing we see is, I don't usually talk about the commercials for TV shows that are going to be on, but this was particularly poignant. This was Bo Dallas talking about the Peacock documentary about.
It looks fantastic. It looks so good.
It really does. And, I'm a big Bray Wyatt fan, even when people were like, oh, I don't like the spooky stuff. Well, I do like the spooky stuff. And I really appreciated what he was trying to do. Like, he was always trying to make wrestling more cinematic. He was always the Fiend. He was trying to make a horror movie come on, be part of wrestling. And he didn't always succeed with everything, but most of his stuff entertained the hell out of me. I love the Firefly Funhouse. I love that match with John Cena, which a lot of people didn't call a wrestling match. I don't care. It was the most brilliant thing I've ever seen in wrestling. So, and I've been watching darn near 50 years. Like, I saw Muhammad Ali, Antonio Inoki when it was on ABC's Wide World of Sports. So shut up and don't tell me I don't like wrestling. But yeah, so really looking forward to that. And that's going to be a Peacock exclusive. So, hey,
April 1st.
April 1st. Jeffrey, who is not 16 or 17, but in his 30s, tells us it's going to be an emotional watch. Well, you know what? You're in your 30s. Get over it. Get a grip on your emotions.
Wow.
I'm so two-faced, aren't I? I'm like all over the place.
No remorse from you, from Evil Dose.
Well, it's right there in the name. It says evil right there. All right. Well, speaking of evil,
I think what's going to be emotional about it is the fact that he's not around anymore, and that he had such a brilliant mind, that there was so much more that he could have done, and we didn't get to see it. And I think that's what's emotional about it.
I agree 100%. I think that he was a genius. I think that what he tried to do and often succeeded, that he wasn't appreciated enough. I know a lot of people appreciate him, and I know the IWC is a very small percentage. It isn't real. The people who lit their phones and did the Fireflies whenever he came in, and got excited whenever he came out, even with that Mountain Blue pitch black match. As abysmal a match as that was, and it was, just the way how the black light came on him, and he had his body painted so that, like, all the tattoos and the makeup, it's almost like he was in costume but not in costume. Just the little touches like that, which are actually big deals. Just the creativity and the artistic brilliance, and turning that vision and be able to successfully put it. I thought that visual itself made the match worth it. Yeah, the Uncle Howdy stuff was a little bit weird. Obviously in hindsight, I think Bray knew that he wasn't healthy enough to wrestle, so he was trying to have, a henchman who would do the wrestling. But yeah, it's emotional for a lot of reasons. Died too young, genius. I don't think he ever really had the booking freedom. Like, his character needed to win more than it did, and that's obviously a Vince thing. And I think that the Trips would have let him win. Like, there were 5 matches that he lost where he absolutely needed to win at least 3 or 4 of them. And one was Goldberg, one was the Inferno match, one was the Seth Rollins Hell in the Cell match. There were some others that were in there, that the one with Braun Strowman, the other cinematic match that you could argue about, sort of ended with a Crystal Lake kind of thing with, the monster reanimated at the bottom of the lake. And I can't remember the other one, but those big losses really killed the character. Anyway, We're going to go on. We're going to talk a bit. Look at Chris, gents. Thank you. Thank you. Chris, we owe a lot to you, so thank you for helping us set up. Oh, how sentimental. I'm sure she's talking to me and not to you. Yeah, just seen JoJo. Yeah, that's gonna be rough. That's gonna be rough, and the little kids. And someone's shouting out to, he's not on the show, Jeffrey. Pay attention to us. Sheesh. Yes, the one was seen. The one was seen at WrestleMania. Oh, you mean where he lost? Yeah, that's probably true. But Cena definitely made it up to him at the other WrestleMania. All right, so we get Cody in an all-black suit, evil with a red and black tie, sort of evil as well. Very, very devil advocate-y. Basically, he said a lot of bad words in this. He said that The Rock, used an inside term, heel. I don't think you're a heel. I think you're an asshole. He went on to call him a whiny bitch after he was trying to define something to do with a succubus. And he also accused him of having little dick syndrome. He said that you brought up my mom, so I can bring up your mom. But I love your mom. She's really great. She's the salt of the earth. And don't mess with my mom. She's not afraid of you. And I really want to know more about this story about when Cody's mother got up at a Willie Nelson concert and beat up an undercover cop. Do you have anything to elaborate on that, Vinny? And were you, in fact, that undercover cop?
No, I was not the undercover cop. I honestly, and this might shock to others. I really think they're going a little too far. And I mean, I don't know if you've been watching the Rock's promos on Instagram or YouTube where they're 15, 20 minutes where he's just completely, F-bomb this and F-bomb that. He's The Rock has gone way 360 and turned this way into a character that I would have never expected him to turn into, knowing what we know about The Rock and
that's
how
180.
long. All right, 180, excuse me. Now this could be that they're setting this up for a Roman versus The Rock at SummerSlam, and he's going to turn babyface again. I'm not sure.
Sure. By the end of WrestleMania, The Rock is going. Yeah, he's going to be the biggest face in wrestling once again by the end of WrestleMania.
I'm just not. We saw The Rock back in the 90s with the Nation of Domination and that bad heel turn role where he was just the champ and on top. So I guess I'm just not used to seeing that after so many years. As far as Cody Rhodes and his potty mouth tonight, I guess he's just trying to. I guess he's just trying to catch up and keep it tight with The Rock because, I feel like The Rock right now has no filter. Listen, he's here. He's all in. He's not part-time. And he's letting people know that The Rock's back and he's going to do whatever it takes and whatever he can say and get away with. And that's what this is, man. It's word for word and who can say the worst lines each week. And that's what we're at right now.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right. I'm still going to go with when The Rock whispered in Cody's ear what he said was, I got you. Trust me. You can trust me. Whatever I say, go with it and feel free to one-up me, but just trust me. We're going to get you to finish that story. So that's what I think is going to, come out eventually. See, Jeffrey thinks it's about the Cody versus The Rock, but I think the whole thing is a swerve. And I think that somehow to play into this is going to be Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So Paul Heyman comes out. He still doesn't have a tie. He's still disheveled. So, I thought he was going to get himself all sheveled. But he basically comes in, the whole thing where he's tentative as to going into the ring with Cody and all that. And Cody's like, yeah, you're a Hall of Famer. You can come into the ring at, anytime. Cody and Paul Heyman's, no, I'm just fine. This is our very own The Z is Silent, barrel of Yo Mama jokes. He's right. And you can catch The Z is Silent every week on the Mike Knox show, Monday nights at 6 o'clock. If you didn't catch it today, you can still catch it on the YouTube channel, probably Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter as well. And he's often, if not always, on the SmackDown review show also with Vic. And that's, like I said, on Saturdays. And for those of you who are tired of seeing me on that show every other week, I believe I'm no longer needed for that because I believe they have a full-time cast for that one. So if you want to see me, it's pretty much just here. Unless there's an emergency and I'm called into duty. Anyway, so basically the deal is, Cody, if you want to see Roman at SmackDown, and Cody did say earlier that he wants to have a face-to-face with Roman at SmackDown, though the way he said it, it seemed like it was a fait accompli, but apparently it wasn't, and this is the business that Paul Heyman mentioned to Adam Pearce earlier. And so what he said is that, Cody, Roman will be there. He will be alone. There will be no other member of the bloodline, which might be an important phrase, except myself, but I'm not a physical threat. But the one condition is that, Cody, you must also be alone. And Cody said, deal. So, I'm sure all of us can imagine different swerves. Is Braun Breaker, Paul Heyman's new client? Are there new members who are not officially members of the bloodline by trying out Zion Quinn, who is Samoan and has been called up to the main roster for no apparent reason? Is it Tama Tonga, who is rumored to have been signed and is 42, so probably wouldn't be spending any time in X? Yes, he's Tongan, but, Haku is bloodline, if they have 5 families. Is it Jacob Fatu? Is it nobody? Is it Brock Lesnar? Jean d'Arms.
I would love to know what happened with that Brock Lesnar thing. About 3 weeks ago, Brock Lesnar was taking off everything, all promotional, WWE 2024. Now all of a sudden it's dropped. Like, do you know anything about this?
I know that people said he was removed from the website, and apparently he was never removed from the website, but he was removed from certain things, promotional items and whatnot. I don't know. I mean, I know the reason why. I know because he was alluded to, if not all but named, in the Janelle.
They dropped him. He's going to be back on Raw soon, right?
Don't know. I don't know.
I thought I saw a promo of him coming to Raw or something like that.
I definitely didn't see it. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. I have heard that he's not too thrilled with WWE not, being firmly in this corner. I mean, the allegations are just that. If everyone was to believe everything in every lawsuit, don't forget that one Joseph Meehan Jr., better known as Joey Ryan, filed 18 lawsuits, and I don't think anybody believed a word of any of them. In any event, I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole. I've talked about it plenty on Hammerlock Hangover and other places. But so that's the deal. We then get a Nia Jax promo. Basically, she just says that Becky has never beaten me. She's never going to beat me. And when I beat you, I'm going to take your place at WrestleMania and finish my business with Rhea Ripley, which at least makes sense as to what Nia's motivations are at the moment. I mean, this is a little bit AEW-ish where you're sort of writing the stories to make them make sense after you've already set something up. The other way around would have made more sense, that if there was already a stipulation that if Nia won, that she got the main event spot. So in any event, that was the story they went with. We then see a quick interplay between Cody and Jey, and Jay's like, you want me to go to SmackDown with you? And Jay's like, Jay's like, Cody, do you want me to go to SmackDown with you? And Cody's like, no, I said I go alone. And Jay's like, you know how the bloodline roll. They're going to be all over there. They're going to be there. If you want me to be there, just let me know. And Cody's like, no, I got this. I'm handling this on my own. So sped through a couple of promo or backstage segments there. Do you have any thoughts on these?
No, I mean, again, it's the same stuff we're seeing again. I mean, if it's not Cody Rhodes in the ring, we're seeing Cody Rhodes coming out saving Jey Uso. And if it's not him saving Jey Uso, he's talking to Seth Rollins. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to see the same person almost 5 or 6 times in the show when there's 250 wrestlers on the roster and they're only using 10.
I agree. This has always been a criticism of mine with Raw in the recent years, that you'd see the same people 4 or 5 times on a 3-hour show. 3-hour show, what you need most is to see different people, or if you're going to show the same people over and over again, they might as well be, they need to be impactful segments, important. And this was just sort of more of the same. So we're in agreement on this one. Jey and Seth are obviously on standby on SmackDown. I don't think so. I think the story is that Cody is walking into some form of a trap that is not necessarily bloodline, but maybe is part of the final bosses line, which might be a little bit different. Anyway, next match is Ricochet versus Dom. Dom comes to the ring with JD McDonough. Mommy is not there. Story of this match is that JD constantly is tweaking and interfering, but despite that, Ricochet gets his second win over the Judgment Day, and sort of a streak for him, I suppose, 2-0, unless you count his loss right afterwards in the Gauntlet match. But Ricochet picks up a win. This match was pretty good. There wasn't anything wrong with this match. I'm just not, I'm not really invested in what's seeming to be a low card, bottom of the Judgment Day versus Ricochet kind of thing. I mean, unless this is bringing Braun Strowman back at a big spot and they just clobber the hell out of JD McDonough and throw Dominic Mysterio all over the place. But I don't know. I mean, you're the guy who likes match action more than I do. What do you think?
I mean, obviously, I really don't think they're investing a lot of time and storylines for Ricochet. I think Ricochet is a filler, which is a shame because I know back when he was in NXT, like he was so over, and I always say when you get caught up to the main roster, it's like the kiss of death. Like sometimes they use you, sometimes they won't, but most of the times they won't. And ever since Braun Strowman got hurt, Ricochet's just been a filler.
Well, I mean, that the plan for him was for him and Braun Strowman to be a powerhouse tag team, and Braun Strowman got hurt, and he sort of had nothing to do. So, I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe he's getting this little mini push just to remind people that whatever Will Ospreay could do, Ricochet could do too. I don't know if that's still the case because Will Ospreay does a whole lot more, and Ricochet's doing a whole lot less on purpose. I mean, that's different styles, but I don't know. I'm not sure if one is related to the other. Probably not. All right. Next thing we see is Sami Zayn. He's backstage. He runs into Chad Gable. And, he said, "Hey, Chad, it was an honor to have wrestled with you. Could have gone either way." And Chad's like, doesn't really want to engage. He's like, yeah, great, Sami. And Sami keeps pushing him. Like, "I know you. Come on, talk to me, Chad. Talk to me, Chad." It's just like, what do you think, Sami? When did Sami become a dumbass? Like, when did he not realize basic human nature that Chad's feeling bad for himself? He's in a suit, he's a nice shirt, and then Chad goes, "Okay, you jerk, it did mean more to me." And Sami's like, "That's really selfish. It didn't mean more to you. I've got a family. I got people who care about me. I've got people who doubted me." And Gable says to Sami, "You can't beat Gunther." Then he walks away. So Sami looks a little bit nonplussed. Fine. I don't know where Chad Gable is going to fit into the story, if at all, if it's just setting up for Chad Gable to be the next emerging person, to challenge for the Intercontinental title afterwards. Though, I mean, if Sami wanted to be mean, he could go, "Well, you had 3 chances and neither can you. You're 0-3, dude. So, maybe you should give me a better pep talk than that." But then we go to the Intercontinental title contract signing. I'm not a big fan of contract signings usually, and this one was
I
no
think it's
different.
waste time.
Yeah. The only thing I liked is that Gunther said, this is the most important, Intercontinental Championship match of all time, and why is Sami Zayn dressed like a bum, which he was. And basically Sami retorts that, no one believed in me before, but I break streaks at WrestleMania. Last year the Usos didn't think that I would end their reign as the longest reigning undisputed tag team champions, and I did. But by the way, it was one thing that interesting that Jimmy said is that Jey left him and won the tag team championships without him with Cody Rhodes. So that was sort of interesting. But and then Sami said, "And I'm going to break your streak at WrestleMania." All right. Then Gunther was not impressed, threw a pan at him, and walked off, and then Sami, again, throwing one of those silent temper tantrums. Little Fettuccine 68, how you doing? New entrance for the Bloodline of Mania? I don't know. I don't think they're going to have a new entrance for the Bloodline. There will be 2 entrances though for the Bloodline. One for the Rock and one for the Bloodline proper.
Can I say I think there's two matches that I would say have a more historic history in WrestleMania history for the Intercontinental title. And I'm going to say the first one probably is which I don't see how they can say this is the biggest one, because I mean, you got two people that, I mean, obviously couldn't even lace the boots of Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon at all. And WrestleMania 10 was that match, and that's probably the best Intercontinental title match of all time at WrestleMania 10. And then I would say Hulk Hogan versus Ultimate Warrior. I know people are going to say, "Oh, you're crazy, you're crazy." I mean, you have two of the biggest guys, and maybe the match didn't go the way it should have, and there wasn't a lot of high energy in it. But you got to understand, Sami Zayn he's had the Intercontinental title before. So why is this such a big deal? And why are they only looking at smaller titles for this guy? You got to think about that. And then Gunther, like having the title this long, he's really not that great of an Intercontinental title. He's a big guy that all he does is he smashes people because they put him against a bunch of small guys.
Well, it hasn't just been small guys. I mean, he's beat everyone they put in front of him. But the reason they're saying it's the biggest match, well, the reason they're saying it's the biggest match of all time is because he's the longest reigning Intercontinental champion of all time. So it's just as simple as that. As far as why don't they see bigger titles for Sami? Look at him. He shouldn't have a bigger title. That's the face of your company. Well,
you say that though, and I say this all the time. Everybody, look at Rey Mysterio. He was a nobody, a nothing, a skinny, wet mop, and they made him the face of the company with a heavyweight championship. I mean, so if they can do it to Rey Mysterio, why can't they do it for Sami?
Well, first of all, none of those things are true. Rey Mysterio was a legend before he came to the United States. His reputation.
I didn't say he wasn't a legend, but I'm just saying he's nothing.
Nobody. But he was also.
Well, I mean, he's so small though. Like, if you didn't know Rey Mysterio, and he came to the United States, and he's such a legend, okay? And then he became a champion overnight. You would go, I don't understand why they're making this guy as small as he is the champion.
Well, he would never be my champion because he is that small, and I'm a sizist, and I always have been, and I always will be. But he was also roided up to the gills, and if he's 5'2", he was 5'2" wide as well. I don't know what you mean by tribal. You must mean attire. No, I think they're going to dress the way you've seen them. I mean, Roman will have his necklace on, and I think The Rock will be all Versace'd out.
Versace'd out.
Do you like the camera work when Sami walked? Yeah, I did like the camera work.
That was cool. That was cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good visual, but it's. I mean, I think we could have done with just that instead of all of the stuff beforehand with Sami. But I don't know. It's like he found his path to WrestleMania, and now the story they're trying to tell is that he doesn't believe in himself, and no one else believes him. Well, he shouldn't care. Now, he did, in fairness to him, he never said he doesn't believe in himself, but he does look like his body language is that. And, does he really believe himself even after he won the gauntlet and went through all that? I mean, come on. So, yeah, they, we see Awesome Truth. They're hanging out with DIY. And, R-Truth, of course, they see Indus Sher, and he's like, boy, I wouldn't want to be the guys who mess with those big guys, or if I have to fight them tonight. And, of course, that's who the Awesome Truth have to face. But, Miz is like, don't worry, guys, I'll tell them.
Can I say one thing? I think, I don't know if you felt the same way. So when they showed Sami all pissed off going backstage and they had the camera following him, I feel like at some point they lost the point of view of what they were trying to go for, because you see, to me, I looked at that as, okay, so Sami's going backstage. He's either looking for Chad Gable or he's going to pick a fight with somebody. But you see them following him, and then all of a sudden they bump into DIY and The Miz and R-Truth. And they still kind of try to zoom to see Sami, but then zoom back out. So I was confused on if the cameraman didn't know to actually stop following Sami and come back to them, I was a little lost there. Did you see that?
I saw, but I mean, yeah, I think it lingered, but I think that they were trying to make us think that he was going to get attacked, and probably by Chad Gable, and that didn't happen. But I think it was mostly just a transition, and of course, as Jeffrey pointed out, Truth said one of those guys was hairy. So anyway, that brings us to the Awesome Truth versus DIY. I hated this match. It was I acknowledge that I am the only fan of Indus year.
Wait, in DIY? What do you mean DIY?
I'm sorry, not DIY. The Awesome Truth, and
it's like they fought 2 times tonight.
Yeah, I wish. Actually, no, I don't.
You wish.
And this was goofy. Basically, Indus year was throwing them around for the most part. At some point, the Miz misses one of Indus year, slides out, and he kicks Jinder Mahal, who's their manager for reasons I don't know. And when he gets back up, he bumps into Sangha, who that makes Sanga's elbow go backward, and Sangha basically hits R-Truth face with his elbow, which knocks R-Truth out, and he falls right onto Veer, who, despite coming, I guess he came too hard and he was out on the ring, and R-Truth gets the win by being knocked out and falling backwards. Something that's happened in wrestling a lot of times, but this was just abrupt. This was like a 3.5-minute match. Didn't work for me at all, brother. It's not just because I'm in this year's only fan and I am the Sangha maniac, but it has something to do with that. So maybe you're more objective. Did you think this match was as goofy as I thought?
I thought this match was dumb. Again, like I said, for the last couple matches they put on, they seem to like to fill spots on Raw with junk. And I know you're trying to give these guys something to do, but at the end of the day, I think this whole, what do you call it? Regeneration X was stupid. So that, I mean, right there, I mean, I don't know what they're trying to go with that. And number 2, like, you have these 2 big guys, just like they did with Razor and what are those guys called? Authors of Pain.
Mm-hmm.
They left for a while, which I really don't understand what that was about, because I thought they could have been as dominant as they were in NXT.
Well, they were released. They didn't choose to go.
No, I get it, but I guess my point is you have powerhouses like these 2 Indian guys and Authors of Pain, and you do nothing with them. Like, you put them in BS matches against people that are just, they get the crowd hype, with R-Truth and the Miz. That's what they do. They get them hyped. That's why they bring them out. But for them to take 3 minutes out of people's time and just squash them, I don't understand that.
4 spot at WrestleMania. It's dumb. And we're going to continue talking about the rest of this card right after our next commercial. Don't go anywhere.
I feel that's a typical Darby Allin match, though.
Vinny would tell you that's a great match because he
going all out. He goes all out.
Yeah.
Literally.
Vinny's still in cloud 9 over here. Look, no. Let me tell you guys. This match, this was absolute shit. Okay? I can't believe that they put this on TV. What are they doing? This is the same thing every week. And, you might as well just get me point the freaking clown out here. Okay? What are we doing? Give me Michael Hayes. All right. I really enjoyed watching Kane go against The Undertaker for the 20th time on Dynamite. It was great. I loved it.
You got Tony Storm out here just flocking around.
Tony was flocking. He was flocking around. What are they doing?
Why have y'all not told that man the word is flapping? Why do y'all keep letting this man say flocking every fucking week?
Oh, man. I can't believe this big, fat pile of steaming shit that I was given tonight. This was terrible. I don't know why they do this. This is pro wrestling. I'm going to give it a B+.
Well, Vinny, that was a tribute to you. And like the other Jeffrey, I would like to hear your thoughts on that as well. And I would like to know why Dan sounded like, Judd Hirsch, basically.
Listen, these guys are just obviously jealous because they can't be the one, the only Vincent Laspada. And they love how I grade AEW every single week. So this week I'll be back on AEW and I will grade it just as good as I do every week.
Just in spirit, how would you have graded Big Business?
I'm going to be honest with you. I was very disappointed with Monet's spot. Like I've told everybody before.
Why? Ever since she was a little girl, she wanted to be a wrestler, and she loves Eddie Guerrero so much. He was so influential, even though he died when I was 14. So we never met, but he's the most important person in my life. Oh my God. And we can't do Big Business anywhere else. We can only do it globally here, except for the other company that's global. But that's not important anymore because I'm a CEO, which is totally different than a boss. And I didn't steal Gunter's music, and I'm going to dance to it, even though my dance moves don't match the rhythm of the song, because somebody let me rap on it, and that's really good. I said CEO. See?
Where do I start with this? First of all, I don't think her pop was as big as everybody. I think her pop was a little bit of a letdown than what people really thought it was going to be. I think there was a time in the beginning, but if you had to say who had the biggest pop out of any AEW superstar, I would say CM Punk had the biggest reaction of a return.
Oh, by 1,000.
And that's because he was gone for 7 years. And here's another thing too, is how many, like, we all knew that she was going to AEW. Like it wasn't, I mean, like we all kept, messing around. Like if she didn't make the Rumble, if she didn't do this, like we knew where she was going. So was it really that special? Was it that special that we knew that Boston was the home of Monet, and she was going to make her debut? And this whole CEO, I'm really confused. Like, she really wants to own or be a boss of something, and she can't get off of it. So she keeps reminiscing. She probably can't use boss because that's trademark. So she went to CEO, which is just the next best thing as an owner of a business. I'm just very confused on this. And everybody's like, well, this is what we need in AEW to get it going. No, you don't. You need a group of people that you can actually invest time into, instead of just going and grabbing the hottest free agent in wrestling and wrestling today.
Oh my God, Vinny, you're disrespecting her, because ever since she was a little girl, she always wanted to be a wrestler, and that is so unusual. She's the only one that dreamed of being a wrestler as a little girl. So, all right.
I'll give Big Business a big C.
A C? Oh my God! Now after that talk, I was expecting an A. So, all right. So, speaking of a big C, we get Chad Gable, who runs into Sami Zayn again, even though Sami walked out, but I guess he didn't walk that far. And Chad Gable proceeds to give Sami a non-pep talk. So,
is this really necessary? Is this necessary? A two pep talks in the same show within 20 minutes?
No, it is not. It is not necessary. I wasn't sure if they're going to go with Chad's going to help train Sami. Again, Chad is 0-3 against Gunter in title matches. But I don't know if he's going to betray him and then betray him. I don't know if this is going to be like a Apollo Creed and Rocky, kind of best friends training for Clubber Lang kind of thing. I'm not sure what's happening here at all. But this was the worst pep talk of all time. It was a non-pep talk, but someone who needs no pep in his step is CM Punk, who's rehabbing. Whether he's invited to WrestleMania or not, he's showing up, although they've been advertising him for WWE Live on that Thursday for weeks now. So again, a story after something's been booked. Very stupid, very backwards, and again, very AEW-ish, but I have to give myself a little bit of credit here. Going back to over a year ago, the first time Triple H had the book before Vince came back and took it away from him, at least half-seas, I would say that Triple H, while he's a better booker than Vince and a better booker than Tony, he has sort of some of the worst instincts of Vince and the worst instincts of Tony. He just doesn't. It's just that he shows both of them that it'll take you off a little bit. So anyway, Punk, yes, they're going to be in Chicago, and Punk will be at the show. I'm sure there'll be something with Drew McIntyre as well, but I'm sure they're not going to let him get physical. Anyway. Next, we get into Drew McIntyre. He's going to cut a promo in the ring, but he almost gets interrupted really on while he's walking up the ringway to get to the ring by Seth Rollins, and Seth interrupts me, dances like a clown, and he blah 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 blahs, and Drew's like, "You're stealing the spotlight again," and you have to beat The Rock and make this about you being the biggest star. It can't just be the biggest match. This is my time. And Seth is like, "You're right. I'm an attention whore. Ha ha. I'm an attention whore. Everybody sing my song." And I hated every second.
What was that?
That's his laugh. John. I can't stand Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins ruins everything.
You really don't like Seth Rollins?
I mean, he even ruined Becky. I mean, he ruins everything. I agree with The Rock. He's a walking clown emoji.
Now, see, I think Seth is my favorite wrestler.
I don't believe that for a second.
I'm serious. Right now on the main roster, he's my favorite.
All right. Well, this is terrific. So did you enjoy the promo exchange between him and Drew McIntyre? I mean, again, more of the same.
No, because I knew what it was. Like, we know that Seth Rollins is going to take on Drew McIntyre, and I just really hope that this is not a turn of events where Drew McIntyre is going to take the title off of him, which I have a feeling it is. But again, I don't. This is why I stopped watching Raw. Was no matter what pay-per-view it is, it's like every week, it doesn't matter if they did a promo before, after, or the week prior. It's the same information, but a different, like, they're giving different lines. Like, they're going to tell the person in front of them how they're going to beat them in a different way. And to me, that's getting old. Like, it's a stale bag of chips.
There's two things. One, Jeffrey, stop stepping on cats' tails and standing there. Secondly, I did hear one thing, and again, this might be me imagining something because this is sort of how I envisioned the booking. But Drew McIntyre said, no matter what happens, no matter what condition you are in, I'm going to get you into that ring, even if I have to carry you there, and I'm going to take that title from you. So what I think is going to happen is on that night one, where there's going to be a whole lot of chaos, I think the Damian Priest is going to try and cash in. And I think it's going to be, I'm not sure if he will ever successfully cash in to get the title shot, or if he will successfully cash in but fail in getting the title. But Drew McIntyre is going to clobber Damian Priest, which may cause some sort of also clobber on Seth Rollins to do an injury angle or tweaking the knee kind of thing Saturday night, which of course may play into how Cody and Seth lose, even though The Rock and Roman may not be exactly on the same page. And in fact, Drew will have to get Seth into the ring, or at least Seth won't be 100%. So, again, I heard Drew saying that. I don't know if it was just words, and I imagined too much because of my own fantasy booking to make it, retrofitting into this thing that I've been talking about for a while. But that was something new, maybe, that I heard. Then we got a Becky promo. I have to be honest with you, I tuned out. I know she said words. I'm sure it was something like, "Nia Jax, I'm going to beat you up."
Words. Oh my God.
Yeah. She was hunched over and looking scary, very, very Dark Phoenix-ish. Then the next match was the New Day versus Alpha Academy, except giant asterisks here, because Alpha Academy was Tozawa, not Chad Gable, because Chad Gable couldn't possibly be in this match because he's in the Intercontinental. No, he's not. So he could have been in this match. So listen, match wasn't terrible, but this is like how I feel about a lot of AEW matches when it's like, I don't know, Action Andretti versus whatever, John Moxley. Yeah, it's like I don't care if the match is good because I already know who's going to win. And I didn't care about this match. Not a bad match. New Day looked pretty good. Alpha Academy, they're okay. No Maxine, no Chad, and not surprisingly, New Day picked up the win. But it is a little surprising that the 3 teams from Raw to advance are all face teams: the New Day, DIY, and the Awesome Truth. And they're joining the new Catch Republic, so that's 4 face teams. Judgment Day, I get it, they're heels and the champions. So I don't know if they're going to have 5 face teams against the Judgment Day to sort of make it its own sort of gauntlet. Everyone's against them. Almost like their version of Cody against Roman. The ultimate underdog having to go through the final boss. Sami Zayn, the ultimate underdog, having to go through Gunter, the Terminator. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, if they're going to throw another heel team in there. I know it's the Street Profits versus AOP, so I'm not even really clear who the face is there. I imagine it's the Profits, but it changes week to week. Anyway, you have any thoughts on this match or the fact that so far we have 4 face teams booked in the 6-pack ladder gauntlet match?
I just no. I honestly I watched this match, but I feel like the people that they put in these matches, like they're even qualified for the matches, like Kazawa doesn't even deserve to be in that match. Like he just doesn't. Like Kazawa goes from last year being one of the guys being chasing around for the 24/7 title and somebody that they didn't use very well to now in a picture, or maybe a card picture match on WrestleMania. Like I'm just very confused on how they book people. Like they take the people they don't care about and they put them in stupid vignettes like the 24/7 title, or they make them like background characters in a promo. But then a week later, they're going on an event that could be taking them to WrestleMania. I'm very confused.
Well, I'm going to give you a silver lining. I think that maybe it's because they didn't want a team that Chad Gable was on to take the L, because I think they are planning to do something with Chad Gable either in the run-up to WrestleMania, at WrestleMania, or shortly thereafter. I do want to shout out the 42 people that are watching right now. But some of you, let's get some more likes. I see 2 likes on one platform. I see 6 likes on YouTube. I should be seeing another 35 or so likes and loves, and you should all be hitting subscribe and hitting the notifications button, and when you get a moment, go into entertainment and sports as well and subscribing to those networks as well, especially the lip men on the UFL. You don't want to miss out on season 1. You want to be cool. You want to be the coolest sports fan in your neighborhood. All right, so next we get Becky again.
Before we go to the next one, before we go to the main event, can I just real quick recap this Hall of Fame?
Sure.
I'm very I don't understand it. And why I say that is because you're in Philadelphia, the home of ECW.
True.
Okay. There's nothing ECW. There's
Heyman.
no ECW originals announced for the Hall of Fame. There's no ECW match.
Paul Heyman.
Yeah, but Paul Heyman's not going to get in the match. But why would you do an ECW match? RVD's been working with AEW. Tommy Dreamer is one of the bookers on TNA. I think Raven is working for MLW, though I'm never sure what's going on with MLW. Why would you? Sabu's a wreck. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Brian Pillman's dead. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but here's what I
just got better from not being able to move about 4 months ago.
But okay, so if you don't use them in a match, I mean, at least use some of them in a promo, or even induct some of them in a Hall of Fame. Like, I mean, come on, let's see. You got Muhammad Ali, okay? This motherfucker, all he did one time was ref a match.
Be careful when you're talking about Muhammad Ali.
Why?
Muhammad Ali might be the most important athlete in the history of the world. I mean,
so was Michael Jordan. Then you got this guy, Thunderbolt Patterson, which they said if it wasn't for Thunderbolt Patterson, some of the wrestlers wouldn't be able to talk. Oh, really? So if Thunderbolt Patterson was so important to the WWE universe, why is it that 40 years later, we've been doing Hall of Fame or whatever it is, now you're just announcing him? Like, I love how they use these stupid sayings like, we really give a shit about this Thunderbolt Patterson. Then you got the US Express, okay? You know how many times in the last 10 years I've heard the US Express maybe somewhat going to get inducted, and now all of a sudden you get inducted with this other person called Bull
Nakano?
I don't even know. Oh, this is horrible. This is horrible. I mean, what did she do? She's horrible.
Wait. I mean,
She's horrible.
I know who Bull Nakano is. Bull Nakano is a legendary Japanese female wrestler.
Bullshitter.
No, I mean she's the female version of Minoru Suzuki before there was a Minoru Suzuki.
Okay, but what did she do for WWE? Nothing. She did nothing.
Neither Thunderbolt Patterson. The WWE Hall of Fame is not just for WWE. It's for all of wrestling. Because it's the only wrestling company that matters.
Stop right there. That's where you're wrong, though. It shouldn't be that way. It should not be about people in wrestling. If you want that, you have the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Hall of Fame. You got the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame somewhere in Virginia.
Why would you want the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Hall of Fame when wrestlers make a whole lot more money when they can say I'm a WWE Hall of Famer, and when there's going to be a museum and when WWE can market and sell stuff? Of course they want it. They're the biggest company in the world by far. And their Hall of Fame has always been like this, not just recognizing WWE, WWF, WWF talent. It's always been the way. I mean, yeah. Was I expecting Thunderbolt Patterson? No. Does he deserve it? Sure. Bull Nakano is a legend. Muhammad Ali.
A legend where, though? And Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali's a legend in boxing. Okay, not in WrestleMania. And this is what makes me mad.
Muhammad Ali's a legend in everything. There was a point where he was actually the most famous person in the entire world.
And that's crazy to say, because I can name 10 other people that are more famous than Muhammad Ali.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
Okay, name them.
Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger, way over.
Nope.
Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods.
Nope, not more famous than Muhammad Ali.
Oh, come on. Joe Frazier, Mike Tyson. Come on. This guy.
Frazier.
Listen, all this guy did was, if you really want to
all this guy did.
Hold on. If you really want to talk about what Muhammad Ali did, go back and watch his fights. He did more dancing than fighting. He's like, you know what he's like? He's like a modern day Mayweather. This is what Mayweather gets his dancing from. Muhammad Ali.
Sweet science. He was a boxer, not a brawler. He floated like a butterfly.
Boxers don't dance. Like a bee. They fight. That's what they call it. Boxing is fighting, not dancing. If you want dancing, you go to Dancing with the Stars. That's what Muhammad Ali did. He danced and he fought.
Fighting is fighting. Boxing is the science of fighting.
Listen, you say fuck Joe Frazier, but Joe Frazier was a great fighter. Okay, he was a good fighter.
He was. Yes,
he was. But what I'm saying
is, never as famous as Muhammad Ali. Well,
I'm not saying he was. I'm not saying he was. All I'm saying to you is that right now, if anybody's watching this show and knows anything about WWE, you have to say that this is the most sorriest fucking list of Hall of Famers I've ever seen in my life. And they're running out of people to put in the Hall of Fame. That's why they're giving bullshit people like this. Paul Heyman doesn't deserve to be in the fucking Hall of Fame. McMahon fucking hated Paul Heyman, and now Paul Heyman's in the Hall of Fame. Get the fuck out of here. He
hated him that much. He's been working for them for 25 years. So
okay, you're right. But my question is, WWE, listen, at one point in time, WWE feared ECW. And I know people are not going to say that, but what I'm going to say, why I say that is because, yeah, they were a bigger company, but
I know
WWE.
Why you're saying because you're wrong. They never feared
ECW.
No.
Yeah, but you say that, though. If they didn't fear him and they didn't fear Paul Heyman, they would have never brought Paul Heyman in, because Paul Heyman is a great mind. He's a very talented person.
They brought him in the same reason they brought everyone else in, is because they were buying every company they could. Vince was still like, I want to own everything phase.
Well, he didn't do that. He didn't do that great, because there's still like two companies that he didn't buy.
Well, that's true, but they feared ECW about as much as they feared Ring of Honor. I mean, come on now. ECW.
You honestly. But you don't think this Hall of Fame list is good? You think it's great? I think
I'm
it's
not
shit.
saying I think it's fine. I don't think it's great, but I mean, there's just significance to everyone. I mean, listen, the US Express was not a gigantic tag team in WWE.
No, they're not.
But they were being alive at the time. I knew who they were, even though they were not in my territory, and they were the first NWA territory big free agents to come to WWE. There were tons. There were tons that came from the AWA and other places, but the NWA territories, that was sacrosanct. They broke that. They broke that glass, and they made it okay. But
what about
anyway.
the Rockers? Are the Rockers in the Hall of Fame? I mean, how come they not in the Hall of Fame? I mean, you got two great. You got
I
Shawn
don't know.
Michaels, you got Marty Jannetty.
I don't know that they're not, but Shawn Michaels is in at least twice. So I mean, I wouldn't really worry about that. I don't know.
I'm not saying that, but you're saying the U.S. Express. You don't think that the Rockers were just as good as the U.S. Express, if not better?
You didn't listen to the reasons why I said that the U.S. Express are in there.
I know. I heard what you said.
The Rockers came from the AWA. It was nothing new. I mean, they were just the AWA's version of trying to make the not the Midnight Express, but the Rock and Roll Express. But I mean that it really did change the game at the time. Anyway, I mean, is it missing some star power? Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, were we expecting, Bam Bam Bigelow or some amends to be made with like a Demolition or, a Sid Vicious or, a Batista's a headliner or whatever it is, but it's in Philly. Paul Heyman, and don't preclude that there's going to be other surprises or other people named or whatever. There's still plenty of time, and they've got plenty of time to go on.
One person that they haven't named yet, the one person, and I think would make this whole list would be Bray Wyatt. That would be Bray Wyatt.
I think that might be why the U.S. Express, you got Mike Rotunda going in again, and that would
see.
Make
this
sense.
Is where you're wrong, Z, for silent. It's not a homage to sports. Okay, that's where you're wrong. This is not a NBA, NFL, MMA, WWE Hall of Fame. It's called the World Wrestling Entertainment Hall of Fame. That's what it is. So what I'm saying to you is there should be certain wings. It shouldn't be all. You have a celebrity wing, which is fucking stupid. You should have a WCW wing, an ECW wing.
Well, there's not a physical plant, so you can imagine the wings however you want to imagine them, because it's all in your imagination. Now they're going to build a physical one, and maybe they'll do that. Maybe they will have different actual wings. But yeah, I would love Sid Vicious to be there also. But there's issues with Sid. There's issues
look how long it took the British Bulldog, bro. It took the British Bulldog almost 20 years to get into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Which is ridiculous, because out of everybody they've announced in the last 2 years, the British Bulldog should have been there way longer than any of these fools. Okay. I'm very biased, bro. I think the British put shit in is what they do.
But the British Bulldog is in the Hall of Fame before any of these fools, because he's already in it and they're not. I mean,
I know that. What I'm saying is
taking 40 years is a crime. I mean,
who?
Muhammad Ali.
Why is that a crime? He shouldn't even be in the fucking Hall of Fame, bro. He's not even a Hall of Famer. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There's nothing he's done that should be in the Hall of Fame. Nothing at all. Not for
Drew
WWE.
Carey is in the Hall of Fame.
Drew Carey shouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame. What do you mean? He's a waste of fucking space. Kid Rock.
Once again, there's no space. So he's not a waste of space. And again,
Drew Carey's not a waste of space.
There's no space involved. It's only metaphysical. It's esoteric.
Yeah, but what's wrong with what's wrong with Godfather, Rikishi, and Big Boss Man? They deserve it. They were actually wrestlers.
They are in the Hall of Fame, yeah.
Exactly. Drew Carey wasn't a wrestler. He made an appearance in the Snoop Dogg should not be in there either. He's not all he did was they're putting people in there for no reason, bro, is what I'm trying to tell you. All I'm trying to say is
the reason is to get mainstream attention, and Muhammad Ali gets mainstream attention, and more importantly, he got mainstream attention then, just like Liberace did then. I mean, there were a lot of
his Hall of Fame. Liberace should be in there if Muhammad Ali's in there.
I think Liberace is in there.
I don't think Liberace's in there. I'll look it up, but go on. Let's talk about the main event.
Well, first Liv runs into Becky, and Liv is like, "You should always be watching me." I don't know what's going on with that. And then Cody runs into Seth, and Seth is like, "You got this," and Cody's like, "I got this." Huh?
How do you spell that?
I think it's Liberace with a tilt over the E. Maybe.
Oh, you're right. Yep, you're right. Liberal. Yep.
So then we get
first time keeper in WWE. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Then you get Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax in the last woman standing match. This match went for probably about 15 minutes. Basically, there were a couple of close spots. There was no interference, no Liv Morgan, which they were sort of teasing at. Becky did a manhandler through a setup table. Nia just beat the count at that point and then fell right back down. And then they got to brawling. Becky put her on the announce table, and there was a ladder out there. Becky climbed up the ladder, and she did a leg drop off the ladder and put Nia through the announce table, and Nia could not answer that call. So Becky Lynch, of course, won the last woman standing match. No interference from Liv, nothing like that. And then we hear Rhea Ripley's music. She comes out, and she confronts Becky afterwards, and then we get the trademark and copyright assertion, and the show goes off the air. So, I would say that the last match was good. It delivered what it was supposed to, but by that time I was pretty much checked out. So I'm gonna go ahead. Yeah.
I don't. Liberace is in the Hall of Fame 2014 with the Ultimate Warrior.
See, there you go.
But the last man standing, I don't really understand why this was. And like I told you last week, if they made a promo last week with Liv Morgan, Nia Jax, and Becky Lynch, and they all, and it should have been a triple threat match. It should have been a triple threat match because all three characters were involved. Did this match have to happen? No, it didn't. Because at the end of the day, what is it proving? It's not proving anything. You're not,
well,
Nia Jax
it's proving one thing, and because they've heard everyone say that Becky Lynch looks frail and thin and doesn't look tough. She's not the man anymore.
Does.
Right. She does. So this was to show she's still the man. She can beat up the big bad monster, the big bad wolf, and win in a brutal no DQ last woman standing match. I mean, that was the purpose of it. Whether it worked or not, you don't have to agree. I don't have to agree either. But that's the purpose of it.
I love when they make matches like this, and Becky Lynch gets the shit beat out of her the whole entire match. I mean, she's getting put through tables and chairs and ladders and whatever. And then all of a sudden she does one move and she wins. It's like, come the fuck on. Let's go. Come on. Let's
bring it
home. Bring it home.
But yeah, well, that is home. That's the end of the show. Your grade.
B-.
Well, I'm going lower. I'm going C-. It did just barely enough to keep things moving along, but I think C is enough to keep things moving. And this was C- because I just wasn't feeling it. Tell you this Uso brother thing, I'm not feeling it. I love the Creed's potential, but I still feel like they're just like half a move slower than everyone else there. And Pat McAfee is too real, and he feels realer than everyone else there. So anyway, all right. So folks, thanks very much for tuning in. So just to give you
hold on. Before we go, hold on a minute.
Well, I've got to tell everyone all the shows.
Go ahead.
Okay. Were you reminding me to do that?
No.
Okay. All right. Don't worry. You'll have a chance to say goodbye or whatever you want to say. So just a recap of our shows. Usually Sunday is going to be when the Lip Men on UFL is on UPR Sports. This week it was on Monday just because of scheduling issues. Mondays, 6 o'clock, the Mike Knox Show, live every week with the Z is Silent. Of course, just after about 11:05 or 11:15, the Raw Review Show. Usually, allegedly, it's going to be me and the executive consultant, but we've been having an all-star potpourri of guest stars while the executive consultant is taking care of business. Tuesday nights, we have the NXT Review Show with Bad Guy Jack and the Wrestling Doll. Wednesday nights, we got the Dynamite Review Show with, as you saw, Daniel Christopher Goldberg. Figure that one out if you can. We have also Vinnie Laspada returning to his rightful seat. And is the third, is this Matt fella? Is he the normal third, or is there a different third?
I honestly, I know this is, I think Matt is Daniel's friend, and I'm not sure. I I don't know what's going on with that, but we shall see.
My favorite part of the show, other than Dan doing his rant about you and his speech at the end where he got all misty-eyed, was in the beginning where there's kids clearly screaming in the background and Matt pretending that there was no noise in his background. So, oh yeah, maybe that's my kids. It's like they're breaking plates, the fire alarm's going off. Anyway, Thursday night we have often a prediction show. I believe that's when the TNA show, or is that Friday night? We've got a TNA review show, and then of course there is the SmackDown review show Saturdays at noon or just after. And listen, when there's pay-per-views, there's often a prediction show. Sometimes there's a recap show. And Unpopular Review Entertainment has lots of stuff. There's going to be an X-Men 97 review show. They review movies and TV shows. I don't know what's up this week. Normally one is in one of the commercials. So maybe you know what that is. But Vince, before you felt like I cut you off, and I don't want to cut you off. I want you to, give us can you be frank? So be frank.
Well, let me be frank. You got that flyer that I sent to Chris on your screen?
I don't.
He didn't put the flyer up?
Where do you put it?
I sent it to him. I thought he was going to put it up for me.
I don't know. I don't see it, but talk your way through it.
All right. Well,
for Vinnie. There's something that says for Vinnie. That's probably
there it is. There it is. Okay, so here we go. Friendly confines of Lake Mary. If you guys are from the Orlando area, I'm hosting a WrestleMania 2-night XL watch party at the Friendly Confines, 7025 Co Road, 46A in Lake Mary. I'm doing a 2K24 tournament for tons of prizes. Come and win some WWE merchandise. I'm not sure what the big prize is for the 2K24 tournament.
For life.
No. But listen, if you want to come watch the hottest party of the year, come to the WrestleMania 40 watch party, Lake Mary. For more information, go to Friendly Confines on Instagram, Facebook, and friendlyconfines.com.
All right. Terrific. That's awesome. Very generous of you. Sounds like a lot of fun. So check that shit out. Be there or be square, losers. And, I guess that's about it. You'll see me again next week, unless I'm called to duty. You're going to see Vince in a couple days on the Dynamite Review show. So if there's nothing further else, all I got to say is stay evil, my friends.
These guys.